So who remembers Transformers 2007? Who wants to see me spend 3.5 hours attempting to rewrite it? Aha, yeah, okay, cool. So let's start with Sam, our hero.
Hey Rachel, just me popping in all natural and relatable here on my cell phone camera. I was wondering, do you have a moment to talk about Michaela?
You... what now? Does someone shine a Transformers logo into the sky or something?
I mean, why don't you make Michaela the hero? Sam is basically the walking embodiment of toxic masculinity, and also he only is in the plot because he inherits the MacGuffin, so why not?
So you're saying I could rewrite Transformers with a woman protagonist? With a Megan Fox protagonist?
I mean, that doesn't mean that anyone's gonna like it, but there is precedent for it within the Transformers franchise, and also it could be fun.
Oh man, I could write a version of Transformers with no Sam Witwicky at all.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's do this. Transition. Okay, we're gonna do this. So quickly, what I've got in front of me at the moment is I've got a notepad to brainstorm, to scribble, to do any working I've got to do. I have some really messy notes from watching Transformers 2007, and I also watched, where is it? Transformers the movie, the animated one, because that's meant to be like a fan favourite. So I watched that as research as well. So I've got notes from them, I've got my scrap paper, and I've got a plot summary of the movie here. Yes. Which I will be going through to highlight things and then transfer them onto the plot embryo. And then I've got some notes on RC's character, because I think I want to have RC be the main Transformer instead of Bumblebee. It was an idea I had while I was watching the movie. Since finding out this, not sure if I still want to do that, but we'll find out. And I've got my plot embryo template. So this is the structure that I use for plotting. It's called the plot embryo. If you're not familiar, I've got tons of videos on it. I've got a whole free 7-day course on it called How to Plot on One Page. And I actually created this template, which I use, and I also sell it in my shop. So there'll be more details about that at the end. But for now, yeah, I guess we'll get to see it in action. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to write on the plot points on here, just in pen, because they are there in white, but you might not be able to see them on camera. So I'm going to start by highlighting what I think are the most important things of this, because there's only a few actual plot points in here. The rest of it's like, you know, connective tissue and it's fight scenes and all that. So let's go through. So I'm going to start trying to transfer it here. Done with that for now. I'm going to look over quickly my notes from watching the movie to see if there's things that I definitely want to include in here. I had so many thoughts during this movie. So Michaela's going to be our main character instead of Sam. Sam's a twat. I can confirm on rewatching, he's a piece of garbage.
All right, Mojo, I got the car. Now I need the girl.
So listen, I was wondering if I could ride you home. Why
don't you go sit in that seat there?
I'm not gonna sit in that seat. He's driving.
Well, maybe you should sit in my lap.
Why?
Well, I have the only seatbelt here. You know, safety first.
And once he gives the glasses to someone else, I'm like, why is he still in this?
Your mom's so nice.
I want you to distract my parents while I slip out and get these glasses fit, okay?
Why is he still in this story? I expected them to just be like, okay, we'll take it from here, thanks. But the hilarious thing is that in the end, in the kind of like climactic battle, one of the soldier boys, I'm just going to call them that from now on, one of the soldier boys hands him the cube and is like, you need to take this to the roof for us to extract it.
Set the flare. No. Signal the chopper and set the
I
flare.
can't do this.
Listen to me, you're a soldier now. All right, I need you to take this cube, get it into military hands while we hold them off. A lot of people are gonna die.
There's no way that an actual trained soldier would hand the fate of the universe to this fucking dweeb. And then Soldier Boy has the nerve to tell Michaela to get out of here. Like, you know, escape, save yourself.
You gotta go, you gotta go.
No, I'm not
You
leaving.
need to go.
No, I'm not
Go,
leaving
get
until
out.
I get Bumblebee out of here, okay?
Like, she's fucking useless, and she's been more helpful than Sam's been. RC's backstory. Bumblebee doesn't have a backstory in the Transformers movie anyway. So, fuck it. Let's just use her anyway. Let's try and put Michaela into this now. I've not decided, so in the movies, the tiny cameo that RC gets, she's a set of 3 motorbikes, and Michaela actually rides a bike. And so I did kind of like the idea of her having a motorbike instead of a car, but I'm not sure. I did also have a thought when I was watching Transformers the movie, the animated movie. So Hot Rod at the end of that movie, I don't know the mechanics of it, he becomes a prime. So a prime is a Transformer leader, and they tend to carry a matrix of leadership, or the matrix of leadership, who knows, which is like a magical leader thing that makes you cool and powerful. There's also chat of it being connected to the power of Primus, a creator god of the Transformers. There's a link to the Transformer afterlife, and there's stuff about using it to communicate with deceased leaders who have come before them, which all sounds like cool Black Panther shit to me, so I'm game. I think I kind of want to have RC become a prime, but really I want to start here. So this is the internal quadrants for Michaela. So this is what Michaela is like before, this is what she believes before, this is her epiphany point, where she crosses that line, and this is her belief after, and this is how she is changed after. This is her character arc, essentially. She starts here, she travels around, goes into the unfamiliar, and is changed by it here, and becomes a new kind of self-actualized version of herself here. There's a lot of chat and repetition of the phrase, no sacrifice, no victory.
No sacrifice, no victory.
No sacrifice,
Yeah, no victory. You know, I got it. The old wiki motto.
Right.
No sacrifice. No victory.
But the thing is that it doesn't actually really pay off in any way, because Sam doesn't actually end up sacrificing anything. He doesn't realize the true meaning of it. The way that Michaela's backstory is set up, about her dad being a car thief and her protecting him and kind of bearing the consequences of that, she already knows what sacrifice is about. So this doesn't necessarily make sense as a theme for her. To try and get an idea of this, I need to brainstorm. I'm going to do that on a separate page. I'm going to try and figure out how Michaela could change over this story. Okay, I have to take a break, but I think I'm finished with this brainstorming session, and I don't know if I've quite like hit the nail on the head yet, but I feel like I'm definitely a lot closer. So I'm basically just generating lots of different ideas for the themes. The thing that I hit upon that felt like most true to who Michaela is as a character already was the idea of her kind of hiding her true self and her interest in cars and mechanics.
Hey, how about you let me drive?
Oh, no. This is not a toy. These 22s, I don't want you grinding them. No. Why doesn't my little bunny just hop in the back seat?
Well, you know, I don't really broadcast it. Guys don't like it when you know more about cars than they do.
Because she feels like she's not allowed to like that stuff as a girl. And then kind of transitioning into kind of owning her mechanical skills and her passion, and stop really giving a shit what people think.
Oh, God, I can't even tell you how much I'm not your little bunny.
But that, to me, while it felt very true to her, it did feel a little bit, not trivial, but like it's not quite as epic or as grand as what they try to go for thematically for Transformers. This is just basically about, like, the theme would be like, you're actually allowed to be interested in cars if you're a girl, which is, you know, like, I think is important, but I'd like it if it was a little bit more profound than that. And what I came up with here was kind of like a way of opening that out a little bit and like what that actually means in a broader sense. So I had people will try to define your limits for you. You know, people will tell you what you're capable of. And for Michaela, that's going to be people saying, you can't work on cars, you can't be interested in this, you can't have a transformer as your companion, you don't deserve that. And then the opposite of that, and the kind of realization being that ultimately you decide what you're capable of, and you don't have to listen to anyone who tries to define your limits in that way, because you get to define your own limits. So as you can see, it's kind of the same thing. It just so happens that the actual specifics of how Michaela learns this is about her interest in mechanics and cars, but it's kind of a bigger lesson than that. So I'm coming back to this. I am still pretty excited about this last kind of theme that I came up with. I'm kind of realizing that this isn't really the best way to phrase it. I've kind of got the idea, but I need to put it into proper theme format. But what I like about this is that it can apply to Michaela and her kind of conflict around her mechanical skills and how people treat her based on that and stuff. But it can also, and as I made a note, it can also apply to RC. Not necessarily about RC's gender, but there could be some other reason that people try to, other Transformers even try to define RC's limits, maybe on the class or type of Transformer she is, and how that she can realize that she gets to decide what she's capable of. And I had the idea that maybe she is part of some kind of class or type of Transformer in which there's never been a prime, and so she's the first, and it's kind of about her blazing her own trail in that respect. So I'm just going to clarify this theme in terms of what Michaela believes before and then what she believes after, possibly RC too. Don't you just love this attempt of mine to write the word mean? I decide what I'm capable of. Okay. I've put this in first person, so because these are both beliefs that Michaela will hold at various points during the story, I've put them in terms of first person, so you could quote it. So I think I'm actually pretty happy. I don't want to spend too long on this, so I'm pretty happy with this. I've come up with what she believes before. My limits are defined by others no matter what I do. And then at this point she has a realization, and what she realizes is this, and that is, I get to decide what I'm capable of. This theme obviously isn't super complicated. It's not like a treatise on human nature, but I think it's kind of profound. I think it's something important for people to learn, and that's enough. Like, a theme doesn't have to be the truth of the universe, the meaning of life. It just needs to be something that you honestly believe, that you think is important. And I think this is important enough to base a story around. So I'm going to pick that. And I'm going to write it in. Fuck no sacrifice, no victory. Kind of fuck freedom as well, apparently. Okay, so to get Michaela her backstory, her comfort zone, so I need to look at what events in her life and her backstory could have created this belief for her. So again, I'm going to have to brainstorm. So, to brainstorm this plot point, number one, this is my magic question, because I want to find out Michaela's backstory, and her backstory is all about explaining why she believes this. So, I'm just going to scribble. I'm going to use the 5 ideas method. I'm just going to come up with possible answers for as long as it takes for me to get something good, something that I like. Yeah, this might take a while. Okay, well, let's try that again. Jesus Christ. So what I was doing when I spilled my tea, coming up with Michaela's backstory, and I think I've come up with, if not the backstory, then the start of it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with what I've come up with for Michaela's backstory. It's pretty different from the original backstory about her dad being a car thief and about her having a record and stuff. But I don't think that stuff is incompatible with this. It's just that this is what's connected to the theme. So this is what needs to stay, but if I did want to incorporate that stuff about her dad, her having a record and stuff, then I think that could also be incorporated here. So because Michaela rides a bike, and I think she ends up working on a bike in the second one, which is where that ridiculous shot of her like lying on it comes from, I decided that she is a motorcyclist. So she is kind of a grease monkey in that she's picked that up from her dad, and she knows, she knows her way around a car and she knows what she's doing in terms of like mechanics and stuff. But I decided her actual passion is racing. As maybe a young teen, probably like too young to really be racing, she decides to enter a motorcycle race, and her boyfriend and her dad tell her not to, that she can't do it. So that's them kind of trying to tell her what her limits are, saying, hey, you can't actually do this. You're too young, or you're too inexperienced, or hashtag you're a girl. She does the race and loses spectacularly. Maybe she even crashes. Maybe she's even got an injury from it, which is a constant reminder of her failure. She loses in a spectacularly, probably humiliating way. And that kind of convinces her that her boyfriend and her dad were right. She should have listened to them. They knew better what her limits were than she did. She starts living her life kind of according to what others see as her value, instead of what she's passionate about, instead of what she thinks she's good at. So I think this plot point too can actually be pretty simple. It's kind of basically Sam's, in which, so Michaela gets a new car. I decided it's going to be a car, and it might be that her dad helps her to pay for it. It might be that her dad steals it. And that turns out to be RC. Yeah, so once RC reveals herself, she's going to explain that Megatron is here for the Allspark and what exactly the consequences of that would be. So if this point go is the point of transition from the ordinary life, the ordinary situation, which is just Michaela's life, to the battle for Earth against the Decepticons, which is what I've changed this to, then this point might be the first battle. This might be the first time the Autobots and Decepticons come up against each other, because that's when the battle for Earth begins. So super simply put, RC and the Autobots fight the Decepticons for the location of the Allspark, which would mean in this section, that's where they find the location, and then here, this is where they actually find the Allspark. Search, plot point 4, this is where shit gets real. It's what's known as a pinch point, because it's where the antagonistic force kind of moves in. So the antagonistic force in this story is obviously the Decepticons. As a team, they are the antagonist. So what we want to happen here is Michaela and RC are attempting to achieve the motive goal. So they're trying to get the Allspark, but they're going to be held back by Michaela being in this section here, in this quadrant, because she is coming into the unfamiliar world, and this belief is not going to cut it anymore. So this belief, that is going to backfire on them here. She's gonna fuck up, and they are gonna go through some shit in preparation for her to have this realization. The first thing that I know I want to happen here is that I am gonna keep Sector 7, just because, like, why the fuck not, I guess. We're gonna have Sector 7 kind of jumping in, like having, probably reacting to this battle.
Is your name Sam?
Yeah?
Well, I need you to come with us.
What? Way out of line.
Sir, I am asking politely.
They are going to find Michaela and RC. They are going to confiscate RC from Michaela. But I like how this ties in again with the idea of people kind of trying to decide Michaela's limits for her. Like, they're going to see Michaela, this teenage girl, with RC and think, well, she's not qualified to manage this machine, and they are going to be misunderstanding, I guess, what a transformer is, because obviously they're autonomous. But from the Sector 7 point of view, it's like a weapon. So they're going to be like, well, she's just some girl. She shouldn't be allowed to keep this weapon. Are you kidding? So they're going to kidnap RC, I guess, just like Bumblebee gets kidnapped. And Michaela is going to kind of do nothing. I think based on this, based on her beliefs about what she isn't capable of. I don't think that she thinks that she can do anything about it. Because these are people in power, these are men in power, and if she can't even prove her boyfriend and her dad wrong, how the fuck is she meant to come up against the government? Big money, suits, tech. And now I don't think that means, like, I don't want it to be like she's cold. I want it to hurt for Michaela to do nothing. Michaela is gonna hate the fact that she does nothing or that she can't do anything. It's definitely not a matter of her not caring. It's about her being held back by like what she thinks she can and can't do. Yeah, the negative effect of that is that RC is going to be taken away, and that is going to give the Decepticons ground. So what are the other consequences of that? I guess, like, what are the other Autobots doing right now? Now there could be something here, like, so we want it to be Michaela's fault, kind of, that everything gets screwed up here. So the way that we could do that is we could have RC be a kind of keystone for the other Autobots to... So say we've got the Decepticons attempting again, essentially eliminate the Autobots as a threat so that they can go for the Allspark unchallenged. It could be here that RC has some intel or technology or communication. She has something that's important to helping the Autobots work as a team here against the Decepticons in a battle. And Michaela, like, letting RC be captured by Sector 7 puts the Autobots at a big disadvantage. So it's kind of what, like, you know, it's like the difference between them winning and losing this battle in particular. I mean, it might just be as simple as the fact that, like, once RC's out of the picture, the Autobots are outnumbered. Might be that simple. The Decepticons are going to win this battle in that they get the location of the Allspark, and the Autobots are going to come through it, like, but pretty battered. Like, now the Decepticons have the Allspark location, the Autobots can't beat them there, but they can follow because they can see where the Decepticons are going. So they're kind of bruised and battered, but they can soldier on and follow the Decepticons to the location of the Allspark. And they're going to take Michaela with them, and I've not entirely figured out a reason why yet. Maybe, I mean, Michaela does have her mechanical skill set, so it might be that she proves herself as being useful by repairing, you know, a small part of one of the Autobots. And if the Autobots are bruised and battered here, they're going to want all the help they can get. So that kind of gives enough of a reason that they might take Michaela along. Now I want to figure out the epiphany moment for Michaela. And this is going to be, so obviously the find part, like, is that they find the motive goal. So they find the Allspark here. But there's also something that happens here that pushes Michaela from believing this to believing this. It forces that change. It forces her to undergo her own character arc. And so now I want to figure out what exactly that is. So I'm going to do a little bit more brainstorming. Who would have thought? So plot point 6 is where we're at, and for this we need to figure out what the cost of achieving the motive goal is. So they are going to obviously win, they're going to, maybe they'll destroy the Allspark, I'm not sure, but they're certainly going to get it away from Megatron and the Decepticons. So take is, yeah, so we've got, like, Michaela and RC have gone through their transformation, so they're going to be a new kind of badass now. And they are going to win, but it's going to cost them. So we need to figure out what exactly that cost is. What did they have to sacrifice to achieve this? Just staring at this and trying to figure out what it's going to be is just making my mind go completely blank. So can you guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to brainstorm it. Here we go again. So it's worth noting here that if we have the Autobots destroy the Allspark, as they do in the original film, that is a cost for the Autobots, because destroying the Allspark means that not only can Megatron not use it, but they can't use it, so they can't ever kind of rebuild their home. If we're sticking with the lore of Cybertron having been destroyed, then that destroying the Allspark itself is a sacrifice for the Autobots. It's not really a sacrifice for Michaela though. And if she's the main character of this plot embryo, then we want it to be a sacrifice for her. If we were going to do a separate plot embryo for the Autobots as a whole, or just for RC, or just for Optimus, then just destroying the Allspark would be enough, but it's not for Michaela. But I'm going to make a note of that anyway. So obviously this question is twofold. It's like, how do they defeat the Decepticons, and then what could the cost be? So these are all about the cost. One of the main things, to be honest, that pisses me off about the 2007 movie is how oversimplified and dumb the final twist is of, you know, the crucial moment for Sam. Optimus and Megatron are like having their big final battle, and Optimus is like, Sam, you've got to put the cube in my chest. It's the only way to destroy it.
Sam, put the cube in my chest now!
And then Sam puts it in Megatron's chest instead.
Sam! No, Sam!
Is that, like, what Optimus is saying doesn't make any sense to me. Unless he is this super noble guy and he's like, no, I can't possibly kill Megatron. Why sacrifice himself for no reason? Like, and even if he was to do that, so say the Allspark is destroyed, Optimus has died, Megatron's still going to be there to fuck shit up. Just because he doesn't have the Allspark doesn't mean that he can't cause damage on Earth. So, like, doesn't even really solve the problem. It just stops him from being able to take over the Earth in this one particular way. But if Megatron's still kicking and Optimus is dead, what the fuck chance do the humans have? Because if that works, then, like, Optimus should have known that it was going to work. Everyone should have known that it was going to work. It's a really boring, lazy kind of solution to the problem. So I'm going to take a different tack for a little stretch on brainstorming what could Michaela lose. So I'm thinking about, what could it cost Michaela to win this fight? And just what does Michaela have to lose in general? Because, like, this is obviously a super bird's eye view of her plot. This is a really simplified, like, not fleshed out version of her backstory. So to be honest, I don't really know what she has to lose other than RC. And I've already decided that I don't want her to lose RC, because we kind of already did that in this section as well. Okay, so I think I finally, after this whole page of brainstorming, come to what I want to use for this section. I haven't kind of figured out the final result in terms of, like, are they going to destroy the Allspark or not? But the rest of it I think I've got. If I'm not going to have the Allspark destroyed, which apparently I'm not, apparently I've just decided that, then it still needs to be taken out of the Decepticons' hands for the story to be complete. So Megatron is defeated and gets locked up, let's say. We've got him in custody. The Allspark, I think we can have the other Autobots take it away from Earth to find somewhere to protect it. I think that's fine. So for return, this is kind of like, this is moving from the battle back into kind of the ordinary world, or the familiar world. For that, we can just have Megatron being taken into custody. Megatron's locked up. Michaela down here is pretty worse for wear. She's pretty battered. She's broken her arm, so she's going to be taken to hospital and stuff. So excited to be able to rub out this about Sam and Michaela banging. Yes. At this point, it's kind of besides the point as well, but, like, the thing about the Allspark is that it's so fucking powerful, is if you have control of it, they could create, like, an army of Autobots to defend the Allspark using the Allspark. So, like, it's fine. They're gonna figure it out, okay? So this is pretty simple now, because we just want to look at this. So we've returned to the ordinary world, to Michaela's kind of ordinary life, what's familiar for her, but we want to have her come kind of full circle from this. She's going to race bikes now and have a good time and be happy and probably win some, and she's going to have RC. In fact, they could even be racing together. How fun is that? Yeah, so RC stays with Michaela and they start racing professionally together. Michaela is very happy, finally, you know, like, doing what she's passionate about, and she maybe stands up to her dad or dumps her boyfriend or whatever. Well, I think we might have actually finished this. So, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I am going to write it up in pen, and we can look at what we've got. So the reason I've stopped here is just because this last part, where she starts living her life according to what others see as her value, is obviously, it's really vague. There's no detail in that about how exactly that manifests in her life. So I was just figuring out if I want to come up with that now. So basically what that means for Michaela is that she wants to race bikes. That's what she wants to do. That's her passion. But because she believes that she's not capable of that because of what people have told her, she's going to do something that other people think she should be doing instead. And I'm trying to figure out what exactly that would be. I keep coming back to the idea of nursing, and I'm not sure why. You know what, that's good enough for now. Like, I could always change it. So just as a kind of placeholder even, to focus on nurse training. One last thing that's not here, because it's not in any of the individual plot points, but something that I just want to point out, is that I wanted to give Michaela a better reason to be in the plot than Sam did in the original Transformers 2007 movie, because Sam just ends up there because of things he owns or holds or inherits. So it's like the glasses, and then he gets the Allspark for no apparent reason. And I think my idea with this is that Michaela and RC create a kind of bond that means that they work together as a team better than RC does just by herself. So like Michaela is almost, I guess you could call her like RC's mechanic. Like she can help fix her up and stuff, which is, you know, useful in battle. But I think they probably also just they fight better as a team than RC does by herself. And that is what puts Michaela in a kind of central role in the whole Autobots versus Decepticons plot. It's a pretty simple reason for it, but I think it works. Plot point 1. Michaela loves to race and enters a motorcycle race despite her dad and boyfriend telling her that she can't do it. She loses and crashes, convincing her that they were right. So she forces herself to focus on nurse training, which she's been encouraged to do instead, and is pretty miserable. Then at plot point 2, we've got one of the Decepticons, Blackout, attacks either a military base or Sector 7 for info on Megatron and the location of the Allspark. Michaela's dad won't let her get a bike, so she gets her first car instead, and that car is RC. Eventually, RC reveals her true form and explains that they have to get to the Allspark before the Decepticons. At plot point 3, we've got Go. So RC fights one of the Decepticons for the location of the Allspark, but neither of them get it. So RC calls in the Autobots for backup. Plot point 4, Search. So Sector 7 finds that RC and Michaela are working together and confiscates RC, or kidnaps her, from Michaela, who freezes and just lets it happen. The Autobots, without RC, lose the battle against the Decepticons, and the Decepticons acquire the Allspark's location. Bruised and battered, the Autobots and Michaela follow the Decepticons from a distance. Then finally we've got Find, plot point 5. The Autobots, Sector 7 and the Decepticons clash at the Allspark location. To turn the tide, Michaela must free RC, proving to herself that she is capable after all. RC becomes RC Prime and now transforms into an awesome bike. And now we've got plot point 6, Take. In the final battle, RC is critically injured and Optimus is losing against Megatron. Michaela suicide missions against 3 small Transformers, rips the part out of one of them and gets her arm broken. She fixes RC up one-handed, allowing RC to defeat Megatron with a big-ass sword, because why not? She's a Prime now. At 7, we've got Return. So Megatron gets locked up, maybe the other Decepticons flee Earth or they get locked up as well. Michaela gets some medical attention for her arm, as you'd imagine. And then finally, Change, plot point 8. So the Autobots take the Allspark off Earth to protect it. RC stays with Michaela to defend Earth. They start racing professionally together and Michaela dumps her dumb boyfriend. And I never figured out if Michaela's dumb boyfriend was going to be Sam or just a new character, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter. He could easily fulfill that role. So, we ended up with basically no Sam at all, which I personally see as a vast improvement. We came up with a whole new theme. We have Michaela racing motorbikes. We have RC becoming a prime and defeating Megatron with a giant sword. What's not to love? So let's have it. Let me hear about all the various kinds of Transformers blasphemy I've committed in the comments. I'm Rachael Stephen, novelist, YouTuber, Woodland Hellbitch. And if you haven't already seen my How I Would Fix Tomb Raider video, I would go and check that out if you like this one. It's the same format. And if you'd like to see more of these How I Would Fix videos, please consider becoming a patron. All patrons get access to an extended cut of this very video. And my next Patreon goal is to hit $600 a month, which would cover my time to do one of these videos every single month. And those would either be early access for patrons or patron exclusive. And this is the last thing, I promise. If you want to learn more about the plotting method that I used, the plot embryo, I have a free video course on it called How to Plot on One Page. You will find that below. Oh, and also, Lindsay really is the queen of Transformers. Her series, The Whole Plate, is all about the Transformers movies and film theory, and it's fantastic, and you should go watch it if you haven't already. Okay then. Bye!